From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 11, streaming now.
While many Americans are staying home this Thanksgiving due to the pandemic, many others still plan to hit the road for the holiday. Good evening to you at 11. I'm Mark Mullins.
And I'm Amanda Starrentino. Tomorrow is still on track to be a very busy travel day, but storms could put a damper on your plans. Let's get right to Kevin. Hey, Kevin.
And a very wet day on the way tomorrow, all in the form of rain. No winter storm to deal with in the Midwest. Heaviest rainfall through about 10 a.m. Then I think we'll see a lull. Our severe weather potential, and I stress potential, 4 to 8 p.m. Damaging wind would be the main threat from the stronger storms. Now arriving western Indiana, you can see the rain pushing in, but look to the southwest, southern Illinois, southeast Missouri. That's rain that will continue to move to the north and east and overspread central Indiana. Between 1 and 7, there's widespread rain. That's at 4, there's 7 a.m. And then by 10, our little bit of a lull. As far as our severe weather potential in the afternoon, Lafayette to Muncie south, that's the best opportunity, and we'll have more details on that. Rainfall potential 1 inch to maybe 1.5 inches in some spots. We'll talk about what happens for Thanksgiving coming up.
And now to the latest on the toll the pandemic is taking on Hoosier lives. 3,279 COVID patients are being treated at hospitals statewide, according to the latest update from the State Department of Health. 5,702 new positive cases were reported between November 9th and yesterday. And 5,169 total deaths in Indiana are blamed on COVID-19 since the start of the pandemic.
Many health officials are bracing for more cases, hospitalizations, and deaths. The chief physician executive at Community Health tells WRTV Thanksgiving gatherings will likely lead to big spikes.
Not only nervous, we're planning for it. I would guarantee within the 14 days after Thanksgiving, there definitely is going to be a spike. It's just inevitable. There's so many people traveling, college kids coming home and so on. So it is inevitable.
Dr. Ron Yaletti says Community Health Network has plenty of ICU beds available for COVID patients. The concern is having the staff to care for those patients. He says several hundred employees are currently out on quarantine because of COVID.
There's a national shortage right now of plasma. And I just really want anybody and everybody who's had COVID-19 to get the antibody test, to donate plasma, if you at all possibly can.
Tonight we're hearing from a woman who credits a convalescent plasma donation with potentially saving her husband's life. Leah Wagner's husband is in the ICU battling COVID. He was diagnosed with the virus 2 weeks ago and was almost put on a ventilator. But Leah says his condition is improving since the donation.
It took a few days. It takes 2 or 3 days for the plasma to start to really kick in. But since then, he has gotten much better. He's still in the ICU. He's sitting in a chair. He's the amount of oxygen they're giving him is reduced. He's eating. He's actually working again, pulling out his laptop and trying to get curriculum together.
Convalescent plasma comes from someone who has recovered from the virus. Wagner's co-workers have planned a donation drive to help with the national shortage. It starts at 9 a.m. this Friday at Hamilton Southeastern High School's auxiliary new gym.
Before you hit the road for the holidays, check to see if your vehicle has an open recall. This week, General Motors announced it will recall about 7 million big pickup trucks and SUVs worldwide to replace potentially dangerous Takata airbag inflators. But WRTV Investigates found you may already be driving a vehicle with a defective airbag. Carfax estimates about 16 million vehicles have an open recall for airbags. 11 million are Takata, meaning about 5 million are from other suppliers. You can check your vehicle by running your VIN through a site like the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration website or Carfax's free recall tool. You can also sign up for email alerts anytime there's a recall on your vehicle.
But that is just a snapshot for that one moment in time. These recalls aren't issued all at once. They're continually issued. They're constantly, NHTSA and vehicle manufacturers are constantly looking for any safety issues and issuing these recalls. So it's really on us as the vehicle owners to do our homework and make sure that we stay informed with the vehicle that we own.
18 people have been killed in the United States and more than 250 injured from a defective Takata airbag inflators exploding. Carfax data shows the number of vehicles with open safety recalls is rising. More than 55.7 million recalled vehicles are on the road today that have not been repaired. That's up 5% from 2019. We have included links on how to do an open recall check on your car in this story on the WRTV app and WRTV.com.
The COVID crisis has countless families struggling to put food on the table day to day, not just on Thanksgiving. The need for help was on display today at the Indianapolis Urban League. WRTV's Cameron Riddle shows the organization is preparing families for the holiday season in a number of ways.
2 days before Thanksgiving and 8 months since the start of the pandemic, the line for food at the Indianapolis Urban League's weekly distribution spans several city blocks.
It's insane. We know that this line is stretching all the way up West Street, if you will, back up past St. Clair.
A line of cars, both new and old, paints a sobering picture of the need for help as Hoosiers battle a global pandemic. Tony Mason is the president and CEO of the Indianapolis Urban League. He says this began as a one-day event in March, but 32 weeks later, this line still appears every Tuesday. So far, the organization has given out 80,000 meals. Mason says long lines at drive-through food giveaways are the true measure of how well the economy is doing.
You hear a lot of talk about the economy recovering. Well, that's about the stock market. That's not about what's happening to everyday people who, may not have gotten their jobs back, may not have gotten their wages fully restored.
At the Urban League today, 700 families received multiple meals along with a Thanksgiving ham. Mason says eating on the holidays should not be added to anyone's list of concerns during a pandemic.
Our hearts go out to families that are struggling, and especially the families who've also maybe perhaps lost a loved one who will not be at their Thanksgiving table this year. Due to COVID.
The Indianapolis Urban League has gone beyond just giving out food. They're giving Hoosiers everything they may need for this winter season, and that includes a free flu shot.
This year more than ever with COVID, it's important to protect yourself from the flu and to stay as healthy as you can.
Whether it's a flu shot to protect your family or food to feed your family, Mason says the organization is here to serve.
We're doing our part as your Urban League here in Indianapolis to help people who may be struggling and dealing with challenging times.
Cameron Riddle, WRTV.
The food drive at the Urban League will continue each Tuesday at their offices at 777 Indiana Avenue. The IU Health team will not be giving out flu shots next week, but you can learn more about where to get one at our website at WRTV.com.
Many local food pantries need your help in their mission to serve the community. The Midwest Food Bank is in desperate need of volunteers. RITA Arnold has been volunteering with the organization for about 6 years. She talked to WRTV about why the work is so rewarding to her.
It's a very holistic approach. We don't just serve people food, but we also give them hope. And because of that, our agencies, for the most part, can offer other resources in addition to the food. They'll offer childcare or counseling or job training or addiction recovery.
Arnold says there is a need for corporate volunteers whose employees participate in service days. For more info, go to MidwestFoodBank.org.
Tomorrow, the day before Thanksgiving, is known as one of the biggest nights of the year for drinking. Counselors and therapists are especially concerned this year about those with substance abuse issues using alcohol to cope with the pandemic and an unprecedented holiday season. WRTV's Cornelius Hawker shares their warning tonight.
It's no secret the day before Thanksgiving is known for excessive drinking. Many people visiting from out of town, catching up with old friends, or just preparing for a long day of family time.
This is a very emotional time. It's a time of a lot of stress with family.
That's Bailey Trotter, a licensed mental health counselor with Landmark Recovery. She knows hospitals and treatment centers are preparing for this.
Alcohol consumption is up, and so being aware that more people may be coming in. or needing treatment for either alcohol-related issues or injuries.
But as you know, this isn't a typical year. COVID-19 has made everything less safe. States like Pennsylvania are banning alcohol sales at bars starting at 5 o'clock on Wednesday until 8 a.m. Thanksgiving morning. While that isn't happening here, Bailey says people who are choosing to celebrate Thanksgiving on a smaller scale still need to be aware of how much they're drinking, even those who may be alone on this holiday.
Let's say it really is just you at home drinking to excess. Alcohol is very poisonous to the human body, and you are a human being just like your families are, and so damaging yourself in that way is not healthy either.
For those trying hard to stay sober during these very emotional times, Bailey wants you to know this.
A relapse doesn't mean that you failed. It doesn't mean that you can't continue going.
Working for you, Cornelius Hawker, WRTV.
Now, if you are working to maintain your sobriety, Bailey encourages you to connect with those you love. It could be your family or friends or someone else who is also in recovery that you can connect with safely during these emotional times.
You want to make sure that you've got really good ventilation and good circulation in the room where you're hosting your dinner.
If you plan on hosting a big Thanksgiving gathering despite the recommendations against it, health experts say there are steps you can take to minimize the risks of spreading COVID-19 among your family and community.
The Hoosiers make history again. See where IU stands in this season's first college football playoff ranking.
Many people are already in the Christmas spirit. If your home is covered in lights or other holiday decorations, share a picture with WRTV for a chance to win tickets to the Christmas Nights of Lights show at the Indiana State Fairgrounds. The contest ends on December 6th. For more info, go to WRTV.com and click on the contest tab. Your photo could also show up on the WRTV Storm Team forecast at 7. Kevin, I know you've already visited this show. It looks great.
And it looks even better when there's rain or snow, because then all of those 2 million lights get reflected off of all of that. So good things happening at the State Fairgrounds. Okay, big picture. There it is. 59 tomorrow afternoon. We're dry Thursday. We're dry on Friday. A lot happens, though, between now and Thanksgiving. If you're traveling tomorrow by car, a very wet day, windy day, warm, and we may have some stronger storms in the afternoon and early evening. As we go through the timeline here, you'll see the rain that sits in western Indiana now will overtake all of central Indiana overnight. There's your probability of rain. Notice it drops a little bit in the afternoon before rising again late afternoon and in the evening hours. There's a marginal or low risk for severe storms from Lafayette to Muncie south. And again, the time frame there, probably 4 to 8 p.m. Rain overnight, 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. Muncie to Indy to Bloomington southeast is where the heavier rain will be. That pushes off to the east slowly. The western half of the state seeing lighter rain in intensity as we get to mid-morning. Early afternoon, we've got a break. Then you see at 4 o'clock, thunderstorms starting to develop in western Indiana. Those move to the north and east by 8 o'clock, and then by 11, starting to wrap everything up, and it pushes off to the east. Tomorrow, temperatures will be in the low 50s at noon. Afternoon, high temperature, upper 50s with winds that will already be at 30 miles per hour. That's why if we get a stronger thunderstorm that adds to that, pretty easily could get us to our 58 mile per hour threshold. That's when a severe thunderstorm warning would be issued. Models have been consistent, painting a very wet stretch through tomorrow night at 11 o'clock, an inch to an inch and a third. It's all better on Thanksgiving. 52 degrees, we're dry, we'll need to dry out. Temperatures modestly cooler. As you look at temperatures through the day, Thanksgiving 48 at noon, lower 50s in the afternoon. Not a lot in the way of sunshine though, but skies will clear later in the day and into the evening. That sets the stage for some Friday sunshine. Saturday is mostly sunny. We're in the 40s. We'll keep our eye on Monday. Looks like we may have some snow on the backside of a weather system with the colder air moving in. Some snow showers or light snow, 34 down to 24 Tuesday morning. Winter's over here. Spring-like day tomorrow. Windy, wet with some thunderstorms.
All right, Kevin, thank you for that. According to some surveys, more than 70% of Americans plan to celebrate Thanksgiving in a different way this year. A growing number of people are opting out of cooking for a big group. Along with curbing the spread of COVID-19, Scripps reporter Alicia Nieves shows us how that's also helping restaurants rebound.
It has been months since restaurant kitchens have been this busy.
It feels awesome to come in and do what we do.
Richard POGGI is a chef at the Delaney House restaurant and event venue in Massachusetts. He has spent the past week prepping dozens of turkeys after seeing a surge of to-go Thanksgiving meal orders, the result of more people staying home and not gathering this holiday.
Our country as a whole truly wants to do the right thing and get through this. I think people heed the warnings. I think people understand what's going on.
Delaney's is on pace to more than double the amount of to-go Thanksgiving dinners it sold last year.
This is what came in today.
On average, getting at least 200 new Thanksgiving to-go orders a day.
Oh, you'd like to place a holiday order?
We're one of those restaurants that before the pandemic, if you came here on a Friday or Saturday night, you had to wait an hour and a half to come in.
Peter Roscothan is the owner of Delaney's and says their to-go Thanksgiving order boost comes after the restaurant has dealt with a 75% drop in business.
It's hard to find money for payroll. It's hard to dig into your own reserves when you don't want to, but you have to kind of climb through this.
That burden is being relieved for a few weeks now. And what's more, it's giving his team glimmers of hope that they and other restaurants around the country can get through these difficult times.
It keeps us hanging on. And that's what we're doing. We're hanging on.
I am hopeful, and I think they're hopeful. They see something like Thanksgiving happen, and it's a little lift.
A much-needed lift and reminder of what better days look like, thanks to the sacrifice many are making by not gathering this Thanksgiving Day.
Okay, what can I get for you today?
I'm Alicia Nieves reporting.
You like a whole oven roasted turkey breast? Sure. Yeah, the boneless. Absolutely.
Many restaurants require you to pre-order your Thanksgiving meal. You can find a list of local options on our website at WRTV.com.
Well, I'm asking Americans, I'm begging you, hold on just a little bit longer. Keep Thanksgiving and the celebration small and smart this year.
Despite that message from the Surgeon General, many families are still planning on holding large gatherings on Thursday. You might be unsure or confused about the specific risks of getting together for the holiday. Our partners at Newsy are getting answers.
As the holiday season begins, you might be wondering about the risks of getting sick with COVID-19 as you make plans to celebrate. We asked the experts, what's the risk of hosting a Thanksgiving or Friendsgiving dinner this year? How can I serve a meal and limit risk? Their take, the risk of contracting COVID-19 from hosting Thanksgiving is high.
The risk is actually quite high to have any indoor gatherings with people that are not in your immediate family that you live with every single day.
You may want to rethink that gathering and move to a virtual mechanism instead.
How well is the area set up to allow for distancing between family members and guests, and how good is the ventilation? If you are inside and you can't have windows open and you're forced to sit close together, it would be optimal to have people being masked while you're serving and when they're not eating or drinking as much as possible. But again, as you take that mask off and talk and eat or drink at the same time, there will still be risk that will occur during that period for the spray of aerosols or droplets.
The use of fans in the area can also help reduce your risk. You want to make sure that you've got really good ventilation and good circulation in the room where you're hosting your dinner. The best thing you can do is have a couple of box fans, one drawing air into the room, one exhausting air out of the room, making sure that that fan that's blowing into the room isn't blowing directly on anybody.
Probably the safest is not to have other people over right now in most parts of the country. You couldn't do this, say, in the backyard or, at on a picnic table in the backyard or something like that. Over the summer, that was definitely a good option to have, but now it's going to be tough.
For more information on what is low, medium, or high risk, Visit newsy.com/what's the risk.
New tonight, the first college football playoff rankings are in. Alabama tops the list, followed by Notre Dame, Clemson, and Ohio State. The 12th ranked team on the list is the Indiana Hoosiers. It's the first time in program history that IU has been ranked in the CFB playoff poll. The Hoosiers are 4-1 after losing to Ohio State on Saturday in a wild finish.
Peyton Manning headlines the list of Pro Football Hall of Fame semifinalists. He is one of 4 first-year eligible players. Manning, of course, turned the Colts into a perennial contender, breaking records and leading the team to a Super Bowl championship in 2007. One of his favorite targets, Reggie Wayne, is also one of the 25 semifinalists. Wayne spent his entire 14-year career with the Colts. The class of 2021 will be announced during the week leading up to the Super Bowl.
Now to the latest from Washington. President Trump is saying more election-related lawsuits are on the way as more states certify their results. Meanwhile, President-elect Joe Biden is assembling his cabinet. ABC's Faith Abube is following the presidential transition.
The first round of President-elect Biden's core cabinet member rollout, designed to signal a sharp turn from Trump-era policies, a rejection of America First, a direct message to U.S. allies.
It's a team that reflects the fact that America is back, ready to lead the world, not retreat from it.
Among them, nominees set to make history. Avril Haines as the first female director of national intelligence. Alejandro Mayorkas, the first Latino and first immigrant to serve as DHS secretary.
Please know that I will work day and night in the service of our nation.
Tony Blinken will be Secretary of State. Linda Thomas Greenfield, a 35-year veteran of the State Department, as UN ambassador.
I want to say to you, America is back. Multilateralism is back. Diplomacy is back.
Biden also adding former Secretary of State John Kerry to his National Security Council in charge of climate issues.
President Joe Biden will trust in God, and he will also trust in science to guide our work on Earth to protect God's creation.
And now with the green light from the General Services Administration, Biden could receive his first presidential daily briefing in the coming days.
They've been very forthcoming, offering all access, and so we're going to be starting those on a regular basis.
Biden has largely ignored President Trump's failed attempts to overturn the election results. And in a surprise 64-second briefing at the White House, the president addressing neither the election nor the surging coronavirus pandemic, instead taking credit for a rally on Wall Street.
The stock market's just broken 30,000. Never been broken, that number. That's a sacred number, 30,000.
Meantime, Pennsylvania and Nevada today joining Georgia and other swing states in certifying their results. Faith Abube, ABC News, Washington.
Traveling in the morning, that's when we'll see the most widespread rainfall. A little bit of a break as we get into the early afternoon. Then that rain will come back as we get to around 4 p.m. Some of those may be on the strong side. Mark?
Thanks for joining us here tonight. GMI head your way at 4:30. Have a good night.